Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video, and the Cinemassacre channel here on YouTube is one you should be familiar with if you know who the Angry Video Game Nerd is. So this is something that came across my feed today that I wanted to go ahead and address real quick. It's interesting because in the early days of YouTube, if you guys remember the Wild West days of YouTube when the site was like in its infancy, when it first started, Angry Video Game Nerd was one of those channels that really made, well, he was known as the Angry Nintendo Nerd back then, but he really made a splash here on the site. And I remember that he kicked off a lot of, I guess you could say, copycats when it came to reviewing in the video game space. There was a lot of angry reviewers out there that were copying off James, and one would even say there was some that straight up plagiarized James. And today we find ourselves in a position where now people are, well, now there's allegations that Cinemassacre, which is James's production company, is being accused of plagiarism, which is interesting. And that all stems from this Reddit post. Now, real quick, before you click off this video, I want to make it clear here that I am not condemning James in any way. My opinion is, I'm just going to give my opinion right off the front, right at the very beginning here of this video, and say that I am not of the opinion that James is some kind of plagiarist. So I just want to get that out of the way. We'll get into more details later. But let's go over this Reddit post real quick, because this is where everything stems from. It's this Reddit post that was posted 2 days ago, and it says, "Hey Cinemassacre, great job plagiarizing some big portions of the script for the 28 Days Later video." And then they went ahead and posted a link to an article, which if you go to it, it is an article from 2014 from the site filmcomment.com for a review of 28 Days Later. As you all know, that is a horror film from the early 2000s from the UK. And if you look right here, they went ahead and highlighted something very specific. Now, before I go ahead and go over this real quick, for those of you that are unfamiliar with what Monster Madness is a series of monster/horror movie reviews that are done on the Cinemassacre YouTube channel. They're done every October. There's basically an upload for every day of the month in October. So the very first episode, the 28 Days Later review, this person highlighted what was in that review. And it's from this article. It says, set in a post-apocalyptic Britain devastated by an epidemic that within seconds of infection transforms its victim into crazed cannibal killers. So this portion right here that is highlighted was straight up lifted from this article and put into that review, and somebody noticed it. And it got around to the point where on the Cinemassacre website, this was posted not long after that. It says 28 Days Later, UK 2002, Episode 1. This is for the Monster Madness, of course. It says, unfortunately and regrettably, this video contains plagiarized work from a 2014 review article of the film. In the chaos of putting together notes for our new 31 videos, someone slipped up and slid cited sources and notes into the script as actual dialogue. And I'm just going to pause from reading this here real quick, and I'll continue in just a moment. As you all know, if you're a content creator and you make any kind of long form content, like maybe like documentary or deep dive type of videos that are of a specific subject matter, it's not uncommon in reviews, retrospectives, documentaries, what have you, for the content creator, myself included in this, to look up articles to find more information on certain situations or things or things that not the average person, the average person might not know about, just to add to the content of the video a little bit. It's done for research purposes, of course, and also sometimes articles are used to basically quote, especially when it comes to like movie reviews, right? Sometimes articles are used to quote a director or a producer or maybe an actor, and a lot of times what will happen is that source will typically be cited in the video. They'll put that the quote is from such and such interview or article or whatever that person did. if it's not listed there, it's usually listed in the credits, or it'll be listed somewhere in the description of the video, or something like that. For most YouTubers are pretty good about citing their sources when it comes to stuff like that. So I just wanted to put that out there real quick. So let me go ahead and continue on here, though. So it says, we sometimes look at reviews from years past to see how criticism of the film has evolved over the decades and sometimes cite them. Yes, James usually does all the heavy lifting on the previous year's Monster Madnesses, sometimes with others, but this year he trusted me to get everything together, and I failed him and all of you. There will be punishment over this for myself, but our goal is to still get out the rest of the episodes this month without incident. I, James, and Cinemassacre as a whole sincerely apologize. It will not happen again, and has never happened with Monster Madness before. Plagiarism is vile and never okay. I understand this fully before and after this incident. The 28 Days Later review will be rewritten, revoiced, and replaced soon. Justin Silverman, Cinemassacre.com, or I should say Cinemassacre producer. So now, of course, because of this, there are already people on the Reddit. As you can see, this is actually a subreddit that is a fan Reddit of Cinemassacre and AVGN, aka James Rolfe. So now there are people that are looking to see if there's any more examples or instances where there is plagiarism taking place. And don't be surprised if people go into James's whole back catalog of videos on the Cinemassacre YouTube channel to see if there's other instances of plagiarism. That's just the way people roll when stuff like this happens. Now, this right here, again, another Reddit post, and these links will be in the description below if you guys want to go ahead and check them out for yourselves. This person posted, looks like they probably ripped off ScreenAgeWasteland.com. I just happened to go to the Cinemassacre video list directly on Odyssey.com yesterday around 6 p.m. Eastern or so instead of on Cinemassacre.com, and saw the video listed as first, so it was uploaded after episode 1. The review was named Bad Taste, which is a New Zealand movie from 1987, Monster Madness Around the World Episode 2. I've only gone through the first half of the video paying attention to quotes, but here is the plagiarism so far in order. So this person posts, Bad Taste is a story of 4 men from a government agency trying to deal with an alien invasion of a small New Zealand town. And they go ahead and post the article where it has that quote, as well as James' quote from the video. Not those boys, but these 4 men from our government agency trying to deal with an alien invasion in a small New Zealand town. So as you can see, this part right here is the part that I guess they're really keying in on, is this part being pretty much worded exactly the same. So I'll go ahead and show the clip though real quick for those of you so you can hear it yourselves. Go ahead and turn this up here so y'all can hear it.
Attachments, who calls in the boys, not those boys, but these 4 men from a government agency trying to deal with an alien invasion in a small New Zealand town. It's light on plot and editing.
Okay, and then they have some other quotes in here. Let me go ahead and
light on plot.
All right, let me go back. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll also go ahead and link. I'll go ahead and link that video clip as well. But let me go back to what they were saying here. So it says, here's number 2. Like Peter Jackson, who directed, co-written, I guess this person meant to write co-wrote, acted, edited, cinematography and did the special effects. And this is from a review on the IMDb page that they link here, post by user Lost in Limbo. James' quote from the video. So Jackson handled acting, writing, directing, cinematography, editing, and special effects for the film. This is not plagiarism, in my opinion. I think this is this person being a little kind of nitpicky, because there's only so many ways, especially if Peter Jackson had all these different responsibilities on this, there's only so many ways you could word that. So I think this is a bit of a nitpick. I don't think that this is an example of plagiarism per se. I think this is just this person nitpicking, because again, there's only so many ways you could phrase or word specifics of what this person did on this production without it coming across as something that is plagiarized, right? And it doesn't seem like this is plagiarized. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's only so many ways, and in whatever order you could really put this in. So I think this is a nitpick. I don't think this is a good example, and in my opinion is not plagiarism. But we'll go on here to the next one. It says, he's bloodthirsty. His interrogation methods, and this is in parentheses, by the way, his interrogation methods include pounding a bayonet into Robert's heel while hanging him upside down off a cliff, clumsy, funny, and a little too full of himself. And it shows the article that this is a part of, and James' quote from the video where he says, he's bloodthirsty, clumsy, funny, and a little too full of himself. So this one looks like somebody might have cut and pasted everything but what was in the parentheses. So maybe, possibly, yeah, that could be an example of plagiarism. Maybe that seems like it's a little too specific, right? That one can't really ignore, or the previous one, because more than once, I mean, once might be a coincidence. Twice, you probably have to look into a little bit more. Do I think that James should be condemned as this horrible plagiarist? No. But because it is James' company, I think that James would probably, well, I can't speak for James because I don't know him personally, but I would think as a business owner, I would assume as a business owner that you, especially if you're a person that prides yourself on a business with integrity, that you know that the buck kind of stops with you. Even though James might not be directly responsible for this, it's something that is happening on his watch per se, and he might have to do a little bit of house cleaning if this is a recurring issue within his company. Now, again, I don't think that people should make a big deal about this. I think, and hopefully, I hope that these are isolated incidents and are not something that we're going to progressively see in follow-up videos, or not something that people find in past videos, because then I think you have a serious problem, and that's where you have to look at the credibility of the company at that point, and that would be really unfortunate, especially considering how hard James has worked. James is one of the people, like I said, don't know him personally. I'm just going off of what I've seen over the years on this site and in interviews he's had and things like that. I'm just looking at it strictly from an outsider's perspective. He seems like a true workhorse, and I see nothing for him to gain by really plagiarizing, especially considering how massively he's grown. If it was a thing that he was signing off on it, which I don't think he did, obviously, because as we saw here in the previous article, it seems like Justin Silver is the one who is kind of Justin Silverman is the person that was kind of overlooking all of this, and seems to take responsibility for it. I don't think that James would have been able to get away with it this long, right? So that's why I said I don't believe him to be a plagiarist. I don't believe that he has been a long time, that this has been a long time thing. I believe that this is probably just something that, again, I hope, like I said, is just some isolated incident. And if somebody over there at Cinemassacre, if they are indeed cutting corners, hopefully they will be held to account and this situation can be rectified, because it'd be a real shame if, because somebody wanted to cut corners over there, that it would adversely affect James, you know what I mean? And all that he's done to get to this point, all the hard work that he's put in, for all that to really be marred by the fact that somebody over there is not doing their due diligence and is deciding to cut corners. That'd be a real shame. And hopefully that's not what's happening here. Like I said, I don't think right now that this is really a big deal so far. It only becomes a big deal if it becomes a recurring issue from this point on. Then that's when you have to kind of look at things. But hopefully, like I said, it's an isolated incident and it's something that can be rectified very quickly. Like I said, I wish James all the best, and I hope that people aren't really losing their minds over this and making this out to be something bigger than it needs to be, and think that he's the worst person in the world. Because like I said, this kind of stuff unfortunately does happen, especially as a company continues to grow. And when you look at James, like I said, he's a guy that started from scratch, you know what I mean? And now he's built up this company, and he's at a point right now where people would probably be like, well, why can't he still just write his stuff? Well, you know, his company is growing, and as his company grows, he's going to have to delegate more responsibilities to other people that he'll have to pay in order to do those things. And it just comes with growth when you're a business owner and you're trying to grow your brand, grow your company. And like I said, hopefully this is something that can be rectified rather quickly if it is an issue, right? Because I don't think it's really an issue at this point in time, because now everything that's going to be put out from this point on is going to be under a microscope, and people are going to be going back into the video catalog to probably do the same, really look at everything and go over it with a fine-tooth comb to see if there's any more instances like this, whether it be for their own agenda of because they're detractors or just because they feel an obligation, or a sense of justice to do so. But like I said, I wish James all the best, and hopefully this is an isolated incident and won't have any kind of negative impact going forward with Cinemassacre. So that's all my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and until next time, you know how it goes. The hunt continues.